Attorney General William Barr is sticking to his guns tonight concerning the Mueller report. House Democrats today pressured, cajoled, even insulted Barr in an attempt to get a look at the full, unedited document. But Barr maintains he will release a redacted version within a week. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Harridge was at today's House Appropriations Committee hearing for all the fireworks. Good evening, Catherine.
Well, thank you, Brett, and good evening. The Attorney General testified that the special counsel report will be public in a matter of days. It will contain redactions, and for the first time, Mr. Barr explained what the public will see.
Within a week.
Lawmakers used the annual Justice Department budget hearing to press the Attorney General William Barr on the timeline.
This process is going along very well.
While Democrats want all of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's findings.
It would strike a serious blow to our system and, yes, to our democracy if that report is not fully seen.
The Attorney General made clear he is bound by the law. Grand jury material, classified information, ongoing investigations, and the privacy of individuals not charged will be publicly withheld.
We will color code the excisions from the report, and we will provide explanatory notes.
While Democrats want the full report as soon as possible, some complain Barr moved too quickly, releasing a 4-page letter on March 24th documenting Mueller's conclusions.
It is extraordinary to evaluate hundreds of pages of evidence and make definitive legal conclusions in less than 48 hours. I would argue it's more suspicious than impressive.
The thinking of the special counsel was not a mystery to the people at the Department of Justice prior to his submission of the report.
The special counsel did not find against the president on obstruction, nor did Mueller exonerate the president. Barr and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein made the call, in part because there was no underlying conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia.
Can you elaborate on what is meant by does not exonerate the president?
That's a statement made by the special counsel.
Right.
I reported as one of his bottom line conclusions, so I'm not in a position to discuss that further until the report is all out.
With the report's imminent release, Democrats appeared to lay the groundwork to challenge Barr's credibility, but the Senate Majority Leader was having none of it.
It really gets down to a question whether you trust Bill Barr or not, and I do.
Barr also testified that he will review criminal referrals from a House Republican, as well as the origins of the FBI's Russia probe. The Attorney General warned that he will open investigations if the evidence is there. Barr is back on the Hill for a second day of testimony tomorrow, Brett.
On this with the panel, Captain, thank you.
You're welcome.
We also have learned that the full Mueller report will be released within a week. We learned this, of all places, during a budget hearing. A budget hearing, because, of course, so much for the budget. Why talk about the budget when you can talk about Mueller, right? That's how Congress sees it. Watch.
2.5 weeks ago, the Mueller report was completed in extremely quick fashion. You turned a 300-plus page report into a 4-page letter that supposedly summarized the findings.
I want to address a serious oversight matter, your unacceptable handling of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report. And the President states that this report is a complete and total exoneration. Who's factually accurate?
As I say, it's hard to have that discussion without the contents of the report, isn't it? And that's why I'm suggesting that we wait until the report is out.
I'd love to talk to you about your 2020 budget, but what is far more critical at present and has much far more reaching consequences to the credibility of our government is the prompt and full disclosure of the Mueller report.
All right, so here they go again, right? With the constant collusion, delusion, outcry. Here's the thing, guys. Hate to tell you. Some good news, actually. It's coming out. Don't worry. I promise. It really is coming out. The report. And everyone's on your side on that one. No one's actually saying that the American public doesn't deserve the right to see what exactly is in Mueller's findings. We all want to know. And after all, it was 2 years and millions of taxpayer dollars. So indeed, yes, we should see it. And yes, there will be redacted information as it relates to intelligence sources that would be compromised. So you're going to need to get over that one. Anyway, I give the Attorney General, Barr, credit for being such a patient man, for putting up with these politicians, right? And for patiently answering their questions as he did today. I also give him credit for issuing a statement shortly after receiving Mueller's findings, because had he not, can you imagine the speculation that would have then happened? I mean, it's bad enough, right, as it is.
Joining us tonight, Andy McCarthy, the former chief assistant U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York. He worked in that office, by the way, for almost 2 decades. Andy is now National Review contributing editor, Fox Business contributor, great American. Andy, good to have you with us. First, just your reaction to the idea of reparations that Cory Booker has brilliantly brought to the fore.
Well, I was thinking maybe Senator Booker can borrow the money from Senator Sanders. Seems like the socialists are pretty flush these days. Maybe this is something we can work out here.
I think you've got a boffo idea, and there seem to be more folks possessed of great, well, this lust for other people's money that it seems unending. Let's turn to William Barr today. I thought he was absolutely terrific. And I thought, by the way, he made what I consider to be some rather diminutive characters in Congress look even smaller.
Yeah, you could tell, Lou, by the end of this that it almost seemed like a non-event, and it's because I think of how deftly he handled the questioning. He's a very smart, savvy guy. He's also scrupulous, but I think the important thing is that, you know, he's been at this rodeo before and he knows how to handle it.
And how to handle it. I mean, let's watch this exchange, if we may, with Nita Loy again. She was just dumbstruck, apparently, that he could formulate within 48 hours a concise summary of Robert Mueller's investigative conclusions. If we could roll that for everyone.
I must say it is extraordinary to evaluate hundreds of pages of evidence, legal documents, and finding based on a 22-month-long inquiry and make definitive legal conclusions in less than 48 hours.
The thinking of the special counsel was not a mystery to the people at the Department of Justice prior to his submission of the report.
Could he have more delicately and kindly reminded the Congresswoman that she should be more constrained when sitting in front of intellectual superiors?
Yeah, and the other thing, Lou, is that as you played the clip, and I've heard it a number of times today, I was trying to imagine what she would have said if Barr had not turned around Mueller's conclusions and reported those promptly. Imagine what they would have been saying in that case. Of course, the Justice Department was aware of what the special counsel's investigation was. In fact, Congress had Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, in for testimony a number of times. He didn't answer a lot of the questions they asked, but he made clear that he was aware of what was going on in Mueller's investigation throughout Mueller's investigation. And there's no doubt in my mind, having been a prosecutor who's made long submissions to federal courts before, that when in the report itself, it'll be clear in a pretty straightforward way exactly what their findings were. So, I think what the problem is here for the Democrats is they're disappointed in the findings.
Exactly. And their dismay at Robert Mueller, who was, as the president pointed out in a couple of tweets, he was the great hero. He was the savior of the radical left in this country. He was, without question, going to find collusion with the Russians. And my God, what happened after almost 2 years of investigation? Nothing, because as the president had said from the outset, there was nothing to find. And that is what the left has before it now. They're attacking Robert Mueller, for crying out loud. This is just a pathetic display. Your thoughts about how we go forward now with the Attorney General saying they're going to investigate how this all began. That sounds like that should have a lot of people who've been forced out of the Justice Department, out of the FBI, very nervous, and maybe some of those who remain in leadership roles in the Justice Department and FBI.
Yeah, I think the big takeaway on that today, Lou, was that the Attorney General himself said he is looking into what happened here. So this is not one of these situations where he seems to be sloughing it off on someone else or delegating it. He also said that by June, no later than June, and perhaps as early as May, we'll at least have the Inspector General's long-awaited report on this. So that's one thing, and you know, the more disclosure, the better. But the fact that the Attorney General himself is giving his attention to this, I think, is heartening.
Heartening indeed. As Victoria Tensing and Joe DeGeneva said earlier about this man, we will have a real Attorney General. It appears that is exactly what we have now. Andy McCarthy?
Sure do, yes. He's terrific.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Is that your last word?
Terrific is a good word to end on, don't you think?
I do, but, you know, even better are the words happy birthday. Happy birthday, Andy.
Oh,
and thank you
so much, Lou. I appreciate that.
Thank you for sharing part of your special day with us. We appreciate it.